a la comunidad chino-panameña y la importancia de seguir fomentando une a dos océanos y su visita consolida.
Gracias a todos.
A usted y a todos los que le acompañan tener una visión de primera mano.
We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken.
El canal no tiene control directo o indirecto ni de China, ni de la Comunidad Europea, ni de Estados Unidos o de cualquier otra potencia.
Panama is a small country, but it plays a huge role in global trade because it controls one of the most important maritime routes in the world, the Panama Canal. This canal was officially opened in 1914 and connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Many consider it one of the greatest engineering achievements in history. The canal is about 80 kilometers long and operates using a system of gates called locks, which help ships move through areas where the water level changes. Before the canal was built, ships had to take the long and dangerous route around the southern tip of South America. The canal made travel between the two oceans much faster and more efficient, significantly reducing both travel time and trade costs. Because of its strategic importance, Panama quickly attracted the attention of powerful countries. This led to political conflicts, and in 1989, the United States launched a military invasion known as Operation Just Cause. The U.S. government claimed they were acting to protect American citizens, support democracy, and fight drug trafficking in the region. However, many people believed the real reason for the invasion was to secure control over the Panama Canal.
The goals of the United States have been to safeguard the lives of Americans, to defend democracy in Panama, to combat drug trafficking, and to protect the integrity of the Panama Canal Treaty.
During this operation, Panama's president at the time, Manuel Noriega, was removed from power. But the story of U.S. involvement in Panama goes back even further. Until 1903, Panama was actually part of Colombia. However, during a civil war that year, Panama declared itself an independent republic. The United States played a key role in helping Panama gain independence, but not without expecting something in return. In exchange for their support, the U.S. secured the rights to build and control the Panama Canal. This agreement was made through a treaty that notably did not include any Panamanians in the negotiations. While the construction of the canal was an impressive feat, it came at a great cost. Thousands of workers suffered and died due to harsh conditions, disease, and dangerous accidents during the process. The United States controlled the Panama Canal until 1977, when it agreed to transfer ownership to Panama. This transition took more than 2 decades and was completed on December 31st, 1999. Once Panama gained full control, it worked to modernize and expand the canal, culminating in a major upgrade in 2016 that allowed larger ships to pass through, further boosting its importance in global trade. However, after Panama took charge, another powerful nation began to take a keen interest in the canal: China. At first, China moved carefully, investing in Panama without drawing too much attention. It gradually strengthened its presence through trade agreements and infrastructure projects, funding large-scale developments across the country.
Panama has broken off diplomatic ties with Taiwan and established them instead with China in a major victory for Beijing. Taiwan, the self-ruled island that China considers its own, is recognized by a dwindling number of countries.
In 2017, Panama severed diplomatic ties with Taiwan and officially recognized China, which paved the way for even greater Chinese investments. China soon took control of 2 critical ports, Balboa and Cristobal, which connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. It also financed major infrastructure projects like the 4th bridge over the canal and the Atlantic Bridge, a massive structure completed in 2019. These investments made it clear that China was strategically positioning itself in Panama, securing influence over one of the world's most crucial shipping routes. Given China's status as one of the largest exporters in the world, controlling or at least having strong influence over the Panama Canal is essential for its economic survival. A shorter, faster shipping route means lower costs and more efficient global trade for Chinese goods, from electronics to clothing and household items. Naturally, this growing Chinese presence did not go unnoticed by the United States.
China's basically taken it over. China's running the Panama Canal. See what's going on there? China. We didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama. The deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They violated every aspect of the agreement.
As China's influence over Panama expanded, concerns began to mount in Washington. This brings us to today, where tensions over the canal have resurfaced in a major way. In January, former U.S. President Donald Trump made controversial remarks about the canal during a press conference at his Mar-a-Lago residence.
To our country. Now, we had another big thing, speaking of China. China's involved with the Panama Canal. They won't be for long, and that's the way it has to be.
He called the decision to return the canal to Panama a serious mistake and blamed former President Jimmy Carter for overseeing the transfer. Trump went further, saying that the Panama Canal is vital to U.S. economic security, and even suggested that military action to take back control was not off the table. His exact words, "I can't guarantee that we won't use military force to take control back," raised alarms, hinting at a possible shift in U.S. policy toward Panama. He ended by saying, "I won't commit to anything, but it's possible that we might have to act," leaving many wondering just how far the U.S. would be willing to go to counter China's growing influence in the region. His remarks have added a new layer of tension to an already complex geopolitical struggle over the control of one of the world's most critical trade routes. For the U.S., the canal isn't just a key trade route, it's also a matter of national security. While it plays a crucial role in global commerce, it also serves as an important military and logistical passageway in times of conflict.
It is a legitimate concern because in the case of a conflict between the United States and China, there are fears that this company could interrupt the operations of the canal with pretty significant strategic and economic implications for the United States.
That's why Trump's firm stance, including his threats of military action, raises an important question. How far is the U.S. willing to go to protect its interests? While a direct conflict between the U.S. and China is unlikely, rising tensions could lead to a serious political and economic standoff. There's also a risk for Trump himself. His aggressive rhetoric could push Panama even closer to China, especially since the U.S. has been largely absent from major infrastructure projects in the country. While China is actively investing and positioning itself as a reliable partner, the U.S. has struggled to offer Panama the same level of economic engagement. This makes it harder for Panama to justify siding with America, particularly when faced with threats rather than cooperation. Meanwhile, Panama has made it clear that it doesn't want to be caught in the middle of this power struggle. The country wants both China and the U.S. to be strategic partners, not rivals fighting for control. But can Panama truly remain neutral without jeopardizing its sovereignty or economic growth? History has shown that smaller nations often get swept up in the interests of larger powers. However, Panama might be an exception if it can successfully navigate this geopolitical chess game.